going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. And we officially have our conference finalists after the game sevens of yesterday. And last video, I went over the first one. Let's go into the more exciting one and more interesting above all else. Now, Minnesota upsets Denver 98-90 and win game 7 in Denver despite Anthony Edwards looking subpar. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 for 24, 2 for 10 from 3. But the big thing, and I've preached this, what more can you do if you're not scoring? If you're a star and you're not scoring, what else are you doing? Well, if you're a scoring star, because there are a lot of star role players, star defensive players like Rudy Gobert. There's a plethora of different definitions of stars. And when we think of superstars and young superstars, we're now thinking of Anthony Edwards in that class with, Luka, Shea as the next generation or the next chapter. So I thought on the defensive end and overall he was fantastic. We saw every single starter for Minnesota have at least one steal, and all but Rudy had 2 steals. Active hands, number 1 defense all year long. They were great in the second half. In the first half, looked a little shaky. They looked like their hands were. It looks like their hands were, tight. And I didn't know if it was the altitude. I don't know if it was the how electric Denver was, because that atmosphere was awesome last night. It was a awesome thing to see in the whole first half because they were rolling from the 6:38 mark in the second quarter. Denver was up 5 because they were up 5 after the first quarter. From the 6:38 mark to the 3:10 mark, that's 2.5 minutes. They go on a 14-4 run. So in matter of 3 minutes, you go from down 5 to down 15 if you're Minnesota. Now for Denver, Jamal Murray was rolling all, well, not all night long. For the majority of the first half, he was sensational. He was awesome. He was fantastic. And Jokic played all but 2 minutes. Now, we know what Jokic is and what he's not. He's a outstanding offensive player, really, really good rebounder, great passer, but he Michael Malone, who I'll get to for a separate thing later. I understand it's game 7, and I understand the felt of, okay, I'm gonna extend Jokic's minutes as much as possible to try and step on Minnesota's throats, and it was working. But down the stretch, Jokic just looked tired. He looked tired, and it didn't seem like the only thing that hurt was his efficiency. He still put up 34 points, 19 rebounds, 7 assists. Still overall fantastic, but his efficiency, he took him 28 shots, and he only made 13 of them. So he was 13 for 28, 2 for 10 from 3, which he was 1 for 7 till about midway through the third, when it started to get tight, when it started to get really, really, really tight. And this game it was the definition of Jokic and Jamal, 69 of the 90 points, and it's about your others. Like I mentioned, Anthony Edwards, 6 of 24. You saw Jaden McDaniels, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, 7 of 10, 3 for 4 from 3. Karl-Anthony Towns, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 8 for 14, 1 for 6 from 3, but 2 steals and a block. Mike Conley, who missed game 5, came back in game 6, and what did I say? He's the deep breath. He is the calming veteran voice and the veteran leader that a young team like Minnesota needs. He's in this stage of his career. We know what he is and we know what he's not. And is he as good as he used to be? No. But as certain players age, it's not their body that gets stronger. It's the mind. And he had 10 points on 10 shots. But what else can you do? 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and was fantastic in the second half down the stretch. Rudy Gobert, another really, really, really solid game. 13 points, 9 rebounds, an assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks, and hit just the. There was a play in the fourth quarter that put Minnesota up. I think it was either 4 or 6 in the fourth, where they inbounded it to, and he hit a Dirk Nowitzki just post fade, and when he hit that shot, I was like, well, this is the I have no I have no words, and it seems as if it's just Minnesota's night to make this comeback from down 20. When they were down 20, about a minute into the third quarter, they go on a 19-3 run from the 10-15 mark in the third to the 3:05 mark in the third quarter. Now they outscored Denver 60-37, and it seemed like if Denver could have got one other player to come for the ride, Joker and Murray were the only two in double figures. KCP, 5.6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Doing a lot of everything else. 2 for 7, 1 for 4. Mike from 3. Michael Porter Jr., 7 points, 9 rebounds, 3 for 12, 1 for 6 from 3. Aaron Gordon, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 for 5. Like, it's your other pieces, your role players. Like in Dallas's series, you got 2 excellent games from PJ Washington, and then in Game 6, Derrick Jones, Jr. goes for 22. They didn't have they needed one other, while Minnesota had 1, 2, 3. They had Ant, Jaden McDaniels, Cat, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, and Naz Reid. That's 6 players in double figures, and Denver only had 2. So as a fan of the game, I'm happy that it's Minnesota Dallas. Denver Dallas would have been cool and fun because the Jokic Luka matchup. Now they wouldn't guard each other, of course, but just your 2 star foreign players not named Giannis or Wemby going at it. It would have been fun. Now let's dive into the team stats before I go to Michael Malone. Denver shot 41% from the floor last night. Minnesota shot 39. This game was extremely, extremely close. When you look at the three-point line, Denver 24%. They were 8 for 33. Minnesota 29%, 10 for 34. So that's 6 points, and you only lost by 8. The biggest discrepancy, and I didn't notice this during the game. Minnesota shot 30 free throws. Like 30. Denver shot 16. Denver was 14 of 16 from the free throw line. Minnesota was 26 of 30. So it's like that's a lot of free throws. Now, is that the sole reason Denver lost? No, they couldn't get anything going after they went up 20. They went up 20, and Michael Malone was just Jokic Murray pick and roll, Jokic Murray pick and roll, Jokic Murray pick and roll, and your other players, your snipers, weren't hitting anything. When you look at bench scoring, Denver had 5 points off the bench, and it was Christian Brown or Braun, however you pronounce it. And then Minnesota had 13, and 11 of it was from Naz Reid. So that's my thoughts on the game. Now to Michael Malone. He was in the post game. He was asked about the game and stuff like that, and he basically ripped the reporter a new one, saying this the season's over, and it was a stupid ass question. But I'm like, you and your second best player have shown that when it's going good, it's great, but then when it's not, there's an old expression, it ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun. And they lost in dramatic fashion. They blew the largest halftime lead in a Game 7. They also blew the biggest lead total in a Game 7. 20 points in the second half, and you're gonna rip the reporter a new one for what? Because you lost. It was great last year when they're the champs, and all year long it's like, oh well, does does Denver look as good as they did last year? Well, no, because they don't have a bench. But it doesn't matter because you won and were crowned champion last year. If you win as a champion, you should be able to lose as one. That was the biggest thing for me that irked me. Michael Malone, I don't know, like obviously you're looking to repeat, you're looking to make this okay, how long can we stretch this out? This team, this core, all this, that, and the other. But the fact that you decided to rip a new one because you wanted to rip a reporter a new one because he asked a valid question, and you're gonna say, it was a stupid ass question. It shit like that just pisses me off because, like, if it doesn't go your way, they were the better team in the series, and it's okay. And there's always gonna be next year. Now it's gonna be difficult as well next year. It's gonna be more difficult, but you got to tip your cap to your opponent and move on from there. And the fact that you took your anger and frustration out on a reporter just irks me, dog. Like, it's things like that that make me dislike teams, players, coaches. It's like you were all, Lakers daddy and taking shots at LeBron last offseason, and now it's like you just get upset and lash out at a reporter. Like, come on, bro, you're better than that. You are a NBA Finals winning head coach just last year, and now you're gonna cry and whine. Someone called the Wambulance. Wham! That's all I heard when he was ripping the reporter a new one. And Jamal Murray, game 2 with the heat pad and the towel, throwing it on the court. It's just like, come on, bro. Y'all are better than this. Y'all are better than this. You guys were the fun team going up and 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 up in the Western Conference. We had seen you get to, conference semifinals and game 7s against Portland in 2018, and it's like, okay, this is a young team, just keep it going. And then Jamal, tears his knee, comes back a year later and is fantastic, and you guys all lead Denver to a title. And now you feel entitled? I I don't know. It really good team, good coach. It's just Denver's starting to rub me the wrong way. And once again, it's nothing to. I think they have an outstanding coach. I think they have an outstanding team. I think they have an outstanding, top 2 stars and still a really good team around, the Jokic Murray duo. It's just things like that. It makes you look like a baby, dog. Like it's one of those things where you're above that. Like Michael, like it amazed me because I couldn't wait for the press conferences from both teams. You have a historic collapse, and you have an all-time great talent. I want to see what he says. I want to see what questions the reporter asks, and want to see who's the leader of your teams. Head coach is they're at the helm. I don't know. It it amazed me as to how much front running took place this series. But Denver, there's always next year. Well, that's all I have for you guys for this episode of the Cover 2 podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover 2 Pod 26. Link will also be in the description to make it just a little bit easier to find. As always, for the Cover 2 podcast, I'm Lawson Turner. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace.